Well, we did it, guys. We're only 100% to 1 million subscribers. Now, I didn't really want to make a video that does nothing other than acknowledge this, especially considering that beyond our own human interpretation, this number doesn't have any more significance than literally any other number in existence. Like somebody forgot to tell anyone that during the Y2K craze. I almost feel like I should have made a happy 92,817 video or some shit. Hi, welcome to my channel where I take the fun out of everything. Anyway, I still do appreciate it, and I figured what better way to show my appreciation than to finally getting around to reviewing the movie that nobody has seen, Frozen. Yep, there's another one. Frozen is a thriller from the UK that won the Audience Award at the 2005 Commonwealth Film Festival. It's got a lot of bad editing, and the shots are poorly framed, and nothing looks aesthetically pleasing, and it looks like they filmed the whole thing on shitty TV quality cameras. The main character is a woman whose sister has been missing for 2 years, and on the second anniversary of her sister's disappearance, she's like, I'm going to sleep in the freezer, goodnight. And then her friend finds her, and she's like, I guess you need some mental help. You should go see a counselor. And then we get to the counselor, and I guess he had a really dry mouth this day.
But now that you're here, perhaps you could try talking a little. Tell me about Annie. Have you found anything that's helped you cope with your pain? What I'm hearing is just how many questions you have.
Maybe it also had something to do with the way that they recorded the audio, because you can always hear so much white noise throughout the course of this film. Since this movie's called Frozen, they try very, very hard to make it a part of the theme, I guess. We get a lot of annoying and poorly filmed scene transitions, and the character's dialogue keeps talking about being frozen and shit.
Sense of a frozen void within.
So she goes to the police station, and they're like, yep, she is in fact still missing. It's been 2 years, but here's some security camera footage from the last time she was seen. So she tries playing the video at home, and she's only getting like dots and flashes and stuff, and so then she goes to the place where the security footage was recorded, and apparently the VHS tape was encoded?
They're encoded for security purposes. They only work on our system.
So she plays it on their system, which is the only system that can play it, and she's like, wow, that is my sister from 2 years ago. Zoom, enhance, feet. 2 feet, please. So then she stands in the spot where her sister was, and then she starts tripping out for a bit and seeing all these images that look like shit, and then she's back. So then they go digging through more tapes and find one from the other security camera that's very close by, and they're like, why didn't she show up on this one? It's the same time code. She walked past one of them, and then if she should have walked past the second one or walked backwards and back to the first one. What? Then we learn that the counselor has a disabled wife, and he loves jogging, but she can only sit, and it's very sad. Then she talks with this woman, and then she goes to the bar, and then she hangs out with this asshole, and then she goes back to work, and this guy won't stop hitting on her. Oh, look, ice, very frozen. Then she goes back to this spot and has a pretty epic stare down with the security camera. I'm assuming the director told her to look fierce and confused at the same time. It's all just very awkward. Then we're back at the beach where Hideo Kojima is sure to reveal more about the plot. She sees her sister in the distance and runs for a bit and then gets bored and picks up some sand, and then, oh no, we're back here and she's got sand in her hand, I guess. Up until this point, I assumed that going from the security camera place to the beach was just a transition of a scene, but apparently she's actually teleporting somewhere. It's like this weird other world sort of thing, so now she's back and she has sand, I guess. Then she's back looking at the videotape and she sees this one frame that looks really weird, so then she puts in the other tape of the other security camera, and then she finds the same frame and it looks really weird, and it's the same. She is now convinced that this frame is an image of her sister's face, and so the guy's like, yeah, well, we can't really tell. Let's send it to an enhancement facility. Then she goes back to her counselor and she's like, see this sand that I brought to you in a napkin? It's real. Then he starts spouting off on a bunch of bullshit for no reason.
The Greek legend speaks about a blind ferryman. And that's why the Greeks used to put coins on the tongues of the dead, because that was their fare.
Then she has a chat with the old guy from Hot Fuzz.
It has his edge, huh? He only chopped him down because he couldn't see the view no more. What's he known about?
Then we're in church, and it turns out that the vicar is also the counselor. It's the same guy. And he's also narrating the whole film for some reason.
I was beginning to realize just how much hope can hurt a person.
Then they get the tape back from the enhancement facility, and the image starts to look clearer.
It's Annie. It's her. Yeah. Oh God, look, this dark bit is her hair, and Oh, yeah, these are her eyes.
Shut up, you're crazy. It doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like a face. You're stupid. Nobody believes you. So then she goes back to the spot and she's like, yeah, zoom in on me. Come on, I want to go back to the beach. Then she sees her sister and she runs, but she's too weak and she just gets out of breath really easily and she's like, okay, I'm done. So then she goes to church to show the counselor the image of her sister's face and she's like, this is a face, isn't it? Nah, you're crazy. Here, look at this. This is a Rorschach test. I can make one myself in a Bible. This is basically what you're doing. You're crazy. Then she goes to the diner and there's a weirdly low-res ship passing by in the background. Then she talks with this asshole and then she goes to the bar again and on her way back the rapey boy is trying to rape her and she's like, no thank you. Then she goes back to the counselor.
Feels like being under a layer of ice.
Then she's like, you know that time in the church when you put your arm around me? I wasn't freezing then. And the counselor's like, oh, I guess this means she wants me to awkwardly nuzzle her for several minutes. He apparently did not need much encouragement at all. This scene goes on for a while and it's very, very awkward. Then the counselor goes back home and he's like, yep, I still have a wife. Then they're in the diner and the girl gets very mad and she's like, you have a wife? I thought I was your wife. Then she goes back to work and she's very sad and then she starts looking for her sister at nighttime behind trucks. Then she talks with this guy and then she looks at some fishies. Ooh, fishies. Then she meets up with the counselor and he starts apologizing to her and he's like, yo, I'm totally sorry. I completely forgot I had a wife.
You're my client, and I haven't compromised a client before, and it won't happen again, I
Oh,
promise.
for God's sake, give it a rest.
Kissy, kissy, nuzzle, nuzzle, nuzzle. Then she goes back to the spot and she's like, come on, zoom in on me, damn it. And then she's back at the beach and she just looks for a bit and that's it. And then we see the counselor and he's in church and the door just randomly opens behind him and he thinks nothing of it and he's like, well, time to leave, I guess. Then she goes back to the place with the tapes and just breaks in through a window in the middle of the night and she goes in the office and she finds a letter from her sister to the tape man. Ice! Then she's looking at the tapes and the tape man comes back and he's like, what are you doing here in the middle of the night? I'm just here for no reason, but what are you doing here? Then she leaves and he's like, oh shit, she found the note, time to chase her to her home. Then she calls the police station and there's a message that says, sorry, we're closed, maybe you should dial an emergency number if it's an emergency. Then she's like, whatever, it's probably fine, there's a banging at my door, but I probably don't need to call anybody. Whatever, it's not an emergency, I'll be fine. Then we get a butt shot of the disabled wife out of nowhere and then we're back to the main character and she goes to the door. The guy starts talking to her through her mail opening and he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, I did know your sister and we loved each other, but I don't know where she is. I don't know why I lied to you. I was just being a dick and now you're being a dick. Stop being mean. Then she makes a phone call to some guy and she's like, I know what happened to Annie. And he's like, oh, really? Did you go to the police? And she's like, no. He's like, okay, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Then she's like, okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. So now she's in the boat waiting for the guy and she trips out a bit and then we see the counselor and his wife at a store and then he drops some money and he picks it up and he puts it in a thing and then he looks at this weird baby face. Oh no, it's John Travolta. Help. Wait a minute. This is the blind guy that he was talking about when he started going off on a bunch of bullshit that didn't make any sense. I should give him one of my earrings. So then this guy shows up and he's like, hey, I made it. By the way, I'm the bad guy now.
Why couldn't you have just left it alone?
Oh no! So then we get this weird ass revelation sequence and it keeps cutting between the beach and then this guy running around and he goes to the spot and he's like, zoom in on me, it's my turn. Then she makes it to the other side and finds her sister and she's like, I'm not Princess Peach, I'm Princess Beach. Actually, I'm you. Oh! It all makes sense now. Oh! So then this guy ties her to an anchor and drowns her and she's like, man, if only this made any sense at all. Hey, remember all this roller coaster footage we were showing of the main character and her sister? Well, check it out. It's the thing. Oh my god. This means something. Sleepy time. Good night.
If any of the issues in this film have affected you, please visit the Susie Lamplugh Trust page on the extras on this DVD.
Oh shit, special features.
In the film Frozen, Kath made several choices that put her personal safety at risk. For information about how to improve your personal safety, visit the Susie Lamplugh Trust website.
Okay, if you were gonna talk in the credits anyway, you could have just said that there, but okay, whatever. Anyway, that pretty much sums up what Frozen 2005 was like. It was kind of funny, but mostly stupid and boring and confusing and painful and dumb. I would not recommend checking this one out. It was not very good. 2 out of of 10. Got him. Anyway, thank you guys so much. It is absolutely insane that we made it to 1 million subscribers. Thank you so much for your support, and a big thank you to everyone helping out on Patreon. Right now, I'm working on finishing up a big review for Kimba the White Lion, and then I'll be finishing up my music video for my album that's coming out in a couple months, and then I'll be finishing up the rest of the review for The Lion King 2019, which is going to be an even bigger review than Kimba the White Lion, and then after that, I'm going to be working on Synecdoche, New York Part 6. So yeah, stay tuned. There's more shit coming, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you all so much for your support. I love you guys. It means a lot to me. We fucking did it! 1 million subscribers! Yeah, boy!